If you've ever been to a gas station, you're probably aware there are two main types of automobile fuel: gasoline and diesel. And while they both come from the same source, petroleum or crude oil, you're probably also aware they're not interchangeable. Filling up with the wrong one can do serious damage to your engine. But why is that? What's the difference between a gasoline and diesel engine? Let's find out. In the first Engines 101 video, we broke down the 4 steps, or strokes, of a gasoline engine cycle for a typical vehicle. Well, a diesel engine follows a nearly identical process. Let's first recap how it works on a gasoline engine. First, the piston moves down, creating a vacuum in the cylinder chamber that pulls air in through precisely controlled intake valves. Next, the valves close and the piston raises back up, compressing all that air, along with some gasoline that was mixed in from the fuel injection system. Now the fun part. The ignition system creates a spark at the end of the spark plug, creating a controlled explosion of compressed air and fuel that sends the piston back down. Then finally, the piston moves back up, pushing that spent air-fuel mixture through the exhaust valves and out to the, you guessed it, exhaust pipes. And since we're dealing with multiple cylinders with pistons all working from the same crankshaft, each one creates the 4-stroke process for the next one. So diesel and gasoline engines both share this same general process, but that third step, the combustion stroke, is where the key difference lies. While gasoline engines typically introduce their fuel during the first intake stroke, and then rely on a spark plug ignition system to set off combustion, diesel engines simply ignite from the pressure alone. If you remember your science classes, you might recall that things get hotter when they're compressed, and that's exactly what happens in a diesel engine. Their compression ratios are much higher than in a typical gasoline engine. So when the fuel is introduced into the cylinder, the air is already compressed and at its hottest point, so that's all it takes to ignite it. No spark needed. This high compression system offers 2 big benefits: great fuel efficiency and tons of torque. That extra muscle is exactly why diesel is so often found in heavy-duty applications like long-haul trucks, utility vehicles, and heavy-duty towing. So with all that engine strength, why aren't they also popular for high-performance sports cars? Part of it comes down to their design, limiting their RPM range and, as a result, their horsepower potential. But the bigger reason these engines aren't really found in sports cars is simply that they're heavy, and vehicle weight is the last thing you want when it comes to maximizing speed and agility. This added weight is due to the high compression design mentioned earlier. These diesel engines need to be built strong enough to withstand that higher internal pressure. Now, another interesting difference is how the power output is controlled. On a gasoline engine, the accelerator pedal controls the throttle valve, an opening which dictates how much air can be pulled into the cylinders. Whereas on a typical diesel, that throttle body doesn't exist. It's just always wide open. Instead, the accelerator pedal directly controls how much fuel gets injected. This works because diesel engines can operate on a much wider range of air-fuel ratios than gasoline engines. Beyond that, there isn't much difference between the two. Just like gasoline engines, diesels can also benefit from forced induction systems like turbochargers. In fact, turbos are so common in diesels, you'd be hard-pressed to find a vehicle without one. So that's a brief look at how a diesel engine works and how it differs from a gasoline engine. But this is just one topic in a wide world of automotive technologies, so be sure to watch the other videos in this series to learn more about them.